Today, I will be talking about, can money buy you happiness? Find out next. Today, we're going to be talking about money and happiness. Can money buy you happiness? And the short answer is, right away, I'm going to give you the answer. Yes, it can. However, some people, no, money can't buy them happiness. It's impossible. They're just not going to be happy no matter what. Some people, you give them money, they just become more of what they are. And if they are just a super depressed, unhappy person, and you give them more money, they're just going to use that money to be more super depressed and unhappy. It's just going to compound their problems. So obviously, now we've got that out of the way, let's talk about all the other people, the 99% of the rest of us that money can buy happiness for. Obviously, if you're poor and homeless, it's going to be extremely difficult to be happy. So how are you going to be happy without some form of money, some sort of shelter, food? All this costs money. So obviously money buys you happiness. If it's raining outside and you go to a hotel and you give them money and they give you a warm place to sleep, suddenly you are happier than you were, correct? And when you go to the restaurant and you're hungry and you give them money and you buy food, you are happier than you were before when you were hungry and didn't have any food. Now, what level of happiness? They've actually done studies on people of how much money you need to be happy in America. And that number is around $70,000 in America and throughout. And every place will be different because you've got different standards of living. So obviously, if you live in California and your rents are super sky high, obviously you're going to need more than $70,000. It's the average out of around $70,000 for a human, and that's just one person to be happy, because you can easily afford your rent, you can easily afford your food, you can easily put money in retirement, you can even give money to charity, and you can have a decent car, and you can go on trips. So basically, you have enough money to go and buy the little happinesses necessary to make a person overall generally happy. It's about $75,000. Now, some of you out there in YouTube land aren't currently making $75,000, so you're not as happy as you could be. And remember, that $75,000, that's just if you are single. Now, if you have a family of four to feed, it's going to be a little bit more. Actually, it's going to be a lot more, because you have to have enough money where you can afford to. Same thing. Everyone's got to be able to have a decent amount of stuff. Vacation for a family of four is expensive. Taking to a restaurant, family of four is expensive. Having a big enough, nice enough car for family of four, you need at least 2 cars. And goes on and on and on. The list of things to buy. So obviously, the more people you have in your family, the more money you're going to need. If you're a single person and you're making $75,000 on average in the United States, you have all of the standard nice stuff. You got a nice apartment, not a luxury apartment, but a nice one, a good one, a decent, a pretty apartment. People will come over and go, wow, this is a nice place. Got a decent car that runs well. You're like, hey, this is a nice car. Everybody says, hey, it's a nice car. It's not like a super expensive exotic sports car or something. It's not crazy. You have all the standard stuff. And like I said, then you still have money left over for a vacation. You still have money left over for charities. And that brings me into the next point, charities. Now, obviously, a lot of people obtain their happiness through charities. All right, this is an easy way to get to be happier. Some people, myself included, like to help others, and we give a little bit of money to charity or to family, and that makes us happy. So if you've got $75,000 coming in, you have enough money where that makes that possible. Where at Christmas, you can actually buy Christmas gifts. Not saying that everybody does this, not saying you should, but you can buy Christmas gifts for all of your family without it putting you homeless, without you're not missing a rent payment. All right? Below that line of you're going to get less and less, you're going to get that instant happiness. Now, above $75,000 for a single. Remember, keep this in mind. Everybody lives in a different place. Everybody's experience is different. So, I mean, I love it when you argue with me in the comments, but I just want to make sure it's clear what I'm trying to say, okay? I don't want you to take it out of context and go, well, I make $50,000 a year and I'm ecstatic. Yes, you could have a low standard of living, and you could be, rent could be extremely low where you are, a good car payment, you've got extra money for cash for travel, you've got extra money to give to your family, however, you would be a little bit happier with a little bit more money. All right, the 75 is like that peak. Now after 75, it doesn't necessarily gain much more happiness. On average, remember, on average, like it could be 100. Like let's say you live in California, it's 100,000, right? At 100,000, after that 100,000, you don't get that same exponential that you get when you go from, let's say, 0 all the way to 75. 0 being the most unhappy, 25 being somewhat happy, 50 being a lot happier, and 75 being pretty dang happy. Now, after this level of happiness, after you've got your good car, good house, good vacation, good food, good clothes, a little bit of money for charity, and you can take care of your family, you get to that level where after that level, it's you get diminishing returns. Now some people, they can be happy homeless. Obviously a crazy person who's homeless can be happy. It's not. I mean, there are people who are crazy who think they're the prince of Dubai, and they're running around thinking they're oil tycoon. I can't say the word. And they're happy, all right. But is that going to be possible for you? And do you want that? I mean, do you really want to be psychotic to be happy? I don't think you do, all right. And also, I don't think you. That brings me to my next point. Obviously, there is more to life than just basically being happy. If just basically being happy was the only thing, then we could all just play video games, and that would be the end of that. Because I've played video games and I've been happy, and this is years ago. All right, I'd play video games and I'd basically go to work, come home, play video games, and that's all I would do. And after about a month, I would sit here and go, I am not truly accomplishing anything. I am level 56 on whatever game I'm playing, right? I've accomplished fake stuff that really doesn't matter. There are no real stakes. There's no real accomplishment. There's no legacy. After I'm gone, this is going to be nothing. Hell, after I turn off the computer, it's nothing. So there's that level of content, that level of accomplishment, all right? And that's a level of content that you're not going to get with just going after happiness. And that's why you see those people that live the crazy, wild lifestyle, and pretty soon they're like, you know what? That made me happy during that time. And I was happy, but I wasn't as content. All right, now I'm focusing more on content, more on long-term happiness. So I'm going to change my life so that I am happy and content long-term by suddenly moving from partying and having a good time or playing video games 24 hours a day into accomplishments, into setting goals, into making something happen in my life and having a legacy of any type. Maybe your legacy is to build a bridge. Maybe your legacy is to build a building. Maybe your legacy is to have children. Maybe your legacy is to build a business. Everybody has a different thing that they want to do, build, succeed. And I think this is good. I think you should have goals. I think you should try to strive for them. And money helps you with these goals, all right? But now, obviously, if you're just given a free ticket and everything comes super, like you're just given all the money in the world, you're going to be able to try to figure out how to be happy with that, and maybe you would be happy. But I feel like you'd be more happy if you were working towards a goal and you were succeeding as you went down the accomplishment of actually earning it. It's that whole thing where someone gives you a car, you don't take care of it. It's like, yes, you're happy for like 2 weeks, and then the happiness starts taking a nosedive, right? But if you worked all summer for 3 years in a row, or all year for 3 years in a row, and you finally afforded that car, then you're going to appreciate that accomplishment so much more. That happiness is going to last for like a month instead of 3 weeks, right? It's going to last a little longer, but also there's going to be a sense of pride. When you talk about that car, you're going to be like, I worked my butt off for 3 years to be able to afford this car. This is an accomplishment. This is a medal. This is a legacy. This is something I have created. This is something I have done, and I've earned it. And you have that sense of accomplishment and pride, and it also helps you with your next accomplishment. You're like, hey, it's like I can do anything because I did this. I've accomplished this. I started this business. I made this business work. So now I can start another business and make that business work. So that builds character. That builds confidence, and that builds makes you feel good all the time without having other things happening, because you've accomplished things, you've done things, you've brought value to the world, you've been successful, you've created something. And it's important to create. That's why sometimes artists have to create. They're bringing value to the world. They're trying to make the world a better place. But, if you're an artist, you're still going to need a roof over your head. You're still going to need food in your belly. So you're still going to, those starving artists are all like, money can't buy you happiness, right? No, money's buying your food. Money's buying your rent. And who's paying that? Probably daddy, right? Daddy's paying the bills, right? Daddy's buying you that happiness. And then I guarantee you, when some guy offers you $100K for that painting you just did, you're going to gladly take that money and go out and buy you more stuff, more canvases, so you can create more paintings, and also buy a nice car so you can drive around to and fro while you're selling your paintings. It's going to happen. Everybody, all these guys are like, yeah, they're valid poverty. I don't want to hear it, because we all know it's bull. We all know it's bullpucky, right? Brings me back to the original point about, can money buy you happiness? And every time, there's always the guy that you bring up this conversation. There's always the guy there that says, well, money can't buy happiness, but it can buy a wave runner, and I've never seen anybody on the back of a wave runner unhappy. Well, let's look at the wave runner example, because I think that's a really good example. I know a little bit about this. I've never owned a wave runner, but I understand the basics of how a wave runner how you buy a wave runner. And you buy this expensive, fancy toy that goes to the lake. You buy it brand new, and then slowly over time, that fancy and that expensive. Remember, these toys are always expensive, because remember, money buys you happiness. You got that happiness, you go out on the lake, you use it, but then it sits in your garage. And then it breaks down. Eventually, starts breaking down. And eventually, you got to pay to get it fixed. Eventually, you have to pay to store it. Eventually, that toy, that thing that brought you happiness. And this translates over, I do know about boats. All right? When I bought a boat, and I had this boat, and then when I first got it, I was ecstatic. I took it out. I had a lot of good times on it. But then eventually, that boat becomes you become a prisoner to it, because now you have to pay to store it. Now you have to pay to fix it. Now you have to pay, and it's got to sit there. And now it goes from the happiness column to the sadness column. So money bought you happiness, but then it also bought you sorrow when you had to have this boat who's falling down, and now you're trying to get rid of it, and you just don't know how to sell it, and now you have to sell it, lose money, you got to fix it, all these different things that come. This happens with pretty much anything that you buy. At first, when you buy that obviously everyone out here has bought a brand new car. You buy the brand new car, I'm going to use Escalade, because I've also owned an Escalade. I bought a brand new Escalade, and it was my first nice car, my first $85,000 automobile. It was beautiful, and I was stupidly paid like almost full price for it. Don't ask me why. A little bit silly then. But I bought a brand new Escalade. This was like 10 years ago. Brand new, or longer maybe. Actually it was longer. Brand new Escalade. And I bought it off the showroom floor, and I just loved it. I mean, it brought me so much happiness, because that was one of my goals. I was like, I am going to buy an Escalade. It took me like 5 or 10 years to get to it. I finally reached that goal of buying that Escalade, and I finally bought it. My payments were exceedingly expensive, but it was a beautiful car, and I loved that car. I loved everything about it. I thought I would never, ever, ever, that car could ever bring me sadness. And sure enough, as the years went by, that car got uglier and uglier, and things started breaking, and then the new model came out, and then suddenly you're driving the old model, and suddenly it's not as nice as it used to be. Suddenly that happiness you used to get from it is turned to sadness, because now you have and you're like, how can this be? How can this item this accomplishment, this thing that I bought that brought me so much excitement now make me unhappy, whereas before it made you happy? And this is a cycle of almost everything that you buy, guys. When you buy happiness, you've got the cycle of when you first get it, you've got the excitement. And in the boats, people always say that there's the two best days in a boater's life is the day he buys it and the day he sells it. And I don't think that's actually true. All right, you got to be careful when you buy a big ticket item like a boat or a jet ski. Or a helicopter, or whatever your big ticket item, something very expensive, requires storage, is not used for business, not used for actual transportation. Like let's say you buy an expensive sports car. Let's say you buy an expensive sports car and it sits in your garage, right? It's going to be nothing but an expense. It is a toy. All right, it's something that you've got to figure out, do I really enjoy this sports car that much? Am I going to drive it enough to make it worth it. All right, am I going to get enough happiness? If my payments are $2,000 a month for this fancy sports car, is that going to bring me $2,000 a month worth of happiness? Now, obviously, I'm just picking random numbers here. A lot of fancy sports cars actually cost closer to $4,000 when you add insurance and everything else. The fancy Lamborghinis, I mean, they could cost $10,000 a month. You don't know. All right, but I'm just picking a random number of $2,000. It seems understandable. Am I going to get $2,000 worth of value out of this automobile? Am I going to drive it enough? Am I going to get that happiness level out of it? I'm exchanging $2,000 of my money, which is going to create sadness. Is the happiness column going to be filled greater than the $2,000, right? All right, and I like boats, guys. All right, and I'm going to do a video on this, and I'm going to talk all about it, but I'm going to use the boating example. All right. And what I did was, when I first bought a boat, I bought a very cheap boat because I wasn't sure. I was like, hey, I like boats. I'm going to test this out. I'm going to buy the cheap boat, and I'm going to see if I like it. All right. It's like buying a cheap sports car to see if you're going to really drive it. See if it's going to be something you're going to do. This is a hobby. You're like, hey, I'm going to buy the cheap old car. I'm going to drive it around. I'm going to go to car meets, and I'm going to see, do I enjoy this? Is this something fun? Is this something I'm going to keep doing? And it's especially true when it's a boat. As a boat, you have to actually drive to a marina, and you have to put it in the water, and you got to drive it around, and you got to see, hey, am I getting enough value out of this boat? And I did. I got a lot of value out of that boat. But that boat started falling apart, so I sold that one. I bought another boat. All right, and then that boat was the same thing. I bought a very cheap, inexpensive boat for boating. Now, boats are all expensive. So when I say inexpensive, I just mean reasonably priced. All right, I don't really actually mean, it wasn't $1,000 boat. All right. The second boat, the original boat was about $10,000. The second one was $25,000. The $25,000 boat, and I want to just go see, hey, am I going to get the same level? Am I going to get $25,000 worth of value, of happiness out of this? And I did. All right, I really enjoyed it. I really liked the boats. I really enjoy being on the boat, so I can tell you that some of my best times on that boat was not the day I bought it, and it's not going to be the day I sell it, but, I need to sell that boat. But that's another story for another time. But some of the best times I've had were on that boat at sunset, sitting back, relaxing with my friends, had some really wonderful times. So, yes, money bought that boat, and that boat brought me more happiness. So, yes, in that case, money bought me happiness. Now, that boat is suddenly, and now I need to sell it. All right, so that boat has gone from the super happiness column to where a lot of joy out of it. Now it's starting to move into the not so happiness column where it's costing me money because I got to store it, I got to fix it, and I got to sell it, and I got to take care of it, and I'm not really using it, right? Because it's moved up there. Because I bought another boat, right? Because I love boats. All right, like I said, I'm going to do it for another video. But let's go back to the original boat. It's moved from, that boat was I love that boat. All right. I love my original boat. My original boat, I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I loved it. I bought it for $10,000. I ended up selling it for $5,000, which was a real loss. But at the time I sold it, it'd gone from perfect boat to not perfect boat. All right, now, the $25,000 boat, like I said, brought me all this happiness. Now the column of happiness has gone down, and the other column, the expense column, has gone up. So when you buy items, you do need to think about your long-term happiness. You think about, whether am I going to buy this? Is this going to make me happy? Is this something I'm going to get value out of? Or is this going to turn into something that brings me sadness, brings me stress? Is the debt? That's the other thing. If I buy it on debt, which I didn't buy those first two boats on debt. I didn't buy my first one on debt, and I didn't buy the $25,000 boat on debt. And that was one of the best things I ever did. All right? If you buy it on debt, then you've got to worry about the debt, because now you've got to make that payment. All right, and the payment, what's the payment going to be? $1,000 a month, $2,000, $3,000? Plus, are you storing it at a marina? Now you got to pay another $700, $800, $900 a month, right? These things add up. Like I said, you have to weigh these things out. How much happiness is this item going to bring you? And how much so yes, money can buy you happiness. You start off with that happiness, and then how much sadness is it going to bring you later on when that thing loses its value, or it's not pristine, or you stop using it, and then suddenly it's sitting in your closet, or sitting at your house, or sitting in the dock, and you can't actually use it, and you don't want to use it. Now all of a sudden it's like it's the one thing you're worried about, because you're like, I really need to sell that item. It's bringing you pain. All right, it's bringing you pain. I know a lot of boat owners that their boats bring them pain when they go to sell them. They just want to sell it. I just want to sell it. I just want to sell it. And used boats are not super easy to sell. All right, so be careful when you buy used boats. They will sell. There are lots of people out there that will buy them, but it's like, obviously it's a timing issue, right? Finding the right buyer at the right time. My final point on this is, guys, if you want to be happy, here's one of the ways that money helps you be happy. When you buy something, like let's say you're going to do a house remodel. Let's say you do your entire house and you remodel your house, you remodel your kitchen, you remodel your bathroom, you remodel your bedroom, you remodel everything all at once. Well, that's going to bring you this great amount of happiness. And for like 2 or 3 weeks, you're going to be like, wow, this place is amazing. I am so glad we remodeled this. This is gorgeous, right? Everything is so awesome. And after about a month, suddenly it's going to be like, well, wow, this is pretty good. And then after 2 or 3 months, you're just going to get used to it, right? And after 2 or 3 months, it's just the happiness level, the original. You've gone from you're super ecstatic, and now you're coming down to basically like it's not bringing you really that much happiness. Bringing a little more happiness than normal, because now you're not living in a dirty, stingy, dingy house, and it's not doing a little more normal than that, but you're still not getting that massive high that you got when you first remodeled it. And how do you fix this? How do you fix this? Well, one of the ways they say to fix this is don't remodel your entire house at once. All right? Just remodel your bathroom. All right? And then you get that bathroom. You get that bathroom remodel, and you get that high off your bathroom remodel. You're excited, and for a month, you're just like super happy about the bathroom remodel. You're super happy about your new shower, your new granite countertops, your new flooring, your new ceramic tile, all the new fixtures, the new closet. You're so ecstatic, and you get a month of happiness out of that. Wait a minute, didn't I just say you got a month of happiness out of your entire house remodel? Yes, that's right. You can get happiness out of the same thing, just in smaller increments. Then after your happiness of the bathroom goes away, now you remodel the kitchen. All right, and then you get a month of happiness on that. And then you remodel the rest of the house, put in some new flooring. Then you get a month of, that's a way to get 3 months of ecstatic happiness out of the same amount of money. And you could translate this in pretty much just about anything. Is get one thing done at a time, do small amounts to great happiness. Another classic example of this is when you're dating a significant other. I always use significant other in case there's a woman watching this video or it's a man. It doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. I'm going to use significant other. Significant other, you buy them a rose or you buy them an expensive gift. Well, the rose and the expensive gift, they're going to last about, the expensive gift might last a little bit longer than that rose, but the rose is going to last, let's say, a couple days of happiness. They're going to put it in water, put it in a jar, and in a couple days you're going to be happy. Let's say the expensive, let's say expensive, I'm trying to think of something random. Watch. Let's say you buy them an expensive watch and reasonable priced expensive watch. Just a reasonable price expensive gift. Let's say $300, right? $300 gift. And that's going to last. All right, they're going to see it, and they're going to be ecstatic about that for probably a week or 2 weeks of, hey, this is the greatest thing ever, and then that's going to go away, right? Now, how many roses can you buy versus how many watches can you buy? You can buy that one rose, and you could don't just buy one rose. Buy something else with that same money. You got $5, and now you spread that out over $300, right? So you take that $5 and you spread it out over all those different other gifts. Now you buy a rose. You wait till that happiness disappears. So a week later, you're back to zero. You buy something else, right? Now you got that another happiness point, all right? And you just keep on doing this. Now, obviously, I would get in trouble if my significant other or a significant other saw this, because then they're like, well, hey, why aren't you buying me something every single week? But I'm using this as an example of how people think, all right? How people think. You buy them, and there have been times when girls have gotten these super, super expensive $20,000 rings, right? And they get happiness out of this for 3 or 4 months, right? And then it's just every day, right? It really, a lot of times their ecstatic happiness only lasts maybe a month, right? And after that, it's just a ring they wear. It doesn't mean anything, even though you paid this massive amount of money. You got to be careful when you're paying these huge amount of money for happiness, all right? Because yes, happiness can be bought by money, but you've got to be strategic. And the other way, there's two ways you can buy happiness. Obviously, you can buy the Rave Runner or the expensive item or food, shelter. Obviously, that would be another way to buy happiness. And then obviously, the next way to buy happiness is through charity or gift giving, which basically those things are the same thing in my book. When you give a friend a gift, you're basically giving charity, right? And same when you give charity, you're giving someone a gift of money or time to help their life, make their life better. Same thing with a friend or a family member. These are all things that are charity that would make you happy by giving. And that's another way that you can use money to buy happiness. You buy happiness for others and buy happiness for yourself. And this could last. And if you do it in small increments, then you might get more happiness. The final way that money can buy you happiness is it can buy you a business. You could take money. Let's assume you randomly get $100,000 as inheritance. You could take that money, you could buy a business, you could employ people, you could employ yourself, and you could take care of your family, and that would buy you happiness. If I used money and I bought a business and that business started making money, that would make me happy. All right, and attaining the goals. Money can help you with your goals. Whatever you want to accomplish, like you want to start a YouTube channel, money can help you start that YouTube channel. If you want to start a business, money can help you start that business. You want to buy real estate, money can help you buy that real estate. And these things can lead to more money, and that money that passive income that you can get off of these things, you can use that to buy more happiness for others and for yourself. In conclusion, yes, money can buy you happiness. But you're going to have to do it wisely. You're going to have to think about what you're doing. You're going to have to put some effort into it. And you're going to have to think about what level of happiness you're getting for each purchase that you make, and making sure that your long-term happiness is taken consideration versus your short-term happiness. Don't go after the instant gratification. Instant gratification is not investing in your future. It's not investing in your happiness. And if you want to be happy in the future, you're going to have to invest in your happiness. Invest in your success. Invest in yourself. Guys, also invest in pressing that like button and subscribing. I need more subscribers, guys, so I really appreciate it. I've had a lot of new subscribers recently, and I appreciate every single one of you guys. You guys are really helping me out, and I really love it when people hit that subscribe button. So please do that right now. Please hit the like button. Comment if you disagree. Comment if you do agree. Just leave a comment and tell me that you love my haircut. All right, guys, I really appreciate you tuning in. I hope you're successful. I hope you save money. I hope you make money. Have a great day.